All right, we might give it another minute. As I've shared with most of the people on tonight, Michael will be leading this show, and I will turn it over to him to present to y'all on what we're talking about today. Michael, it's in your court whenever you're ready.
All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome. It's a beautiful night tonight. I'm glad you joined us and hope you got out today and enjoyed the weather. So let me go ahead and share my screen and get this thing started. All righty. You're all seeing the slideshow, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. So first of all, welcome, like I already said. Today is our March meeting, and we have a few different things on the agenda tonight. First of all, let's cover the ground rules. You can enter any questions you have in the chat, or you can raise your hand to speak. Please be respectful of everybody at this meeting. Please don't interrupt people. Please behave with common courtesy. We won't tolerate personal attacks, and we won't tolerate vulgar language. So please just keep it PG and friendly. We're all here to improve our neighborhood. That being said, let's get into it. So we have some community updates first thing, and then we'll be discussing some bylaw changes, which we have been going over the past couple of months. Tonight, we will be voting on them. We have 2022 events that JC Fick will be covering for us. We've got some really exciting events for you all, and I'm sure you're all excited to hear them. And then Rachel will give us our treasurer's report. Officer Walker, who I don't see here yet, but when she gets here, we will have her do a crime and safety report. Ron Coleman, also waiting for him to arrive, I believe, will give us some neighborhood updates. And then our alderwoman will give us some updates about the ward. So let's get started. Community updates. First things first, dog park. The dog park is an excellent amenity that our neighborhood has. If you have a dog, or even if you don't have a dog, it's a great place to go socialize, meet your neighbors, and give your four-legged friend a little exercise. But that does not come without a little bit of effort. We need volunteers to help on the dog park committee. They help with fundraising, events, and just overall keeping that park beautiful and operating. If you would like to volunteer with the dog park committee, you can email fpsedogpark@gmail.com. Remember, this work benefits our whole neighborhood, and who doesn't want to go hang out with some dogs? So if you want to help with that, go ahead.
And we have Danny, I believe she's here tonight, who is on the dog park committee. Danny, is there anything you want to add to what Michael had just shared?
Yeah, thank you. So I guess a couple quick notes. All of the people who are currently on the board have either moved out or don't use the dog park anymore. They moved out of the neighborhood. So we are looking for people to replace them who are more local and can kind of help maintain and run some of those events like was noted, to kind of bring the community together. It's really a great kind of investment perk for the area too. It kind of attracts, responsible dog owners and people who are probably good renters and good community contributors. So, we like people who use dog parks. And we're also looking for people to take on both formal positions, but additionally, if you're just interested in helping out with like a smaller project, like we were trying to think about whether or not we could have a partnership with the Barcade, the dog bar on the other side of Manchester, or do kind of a community coupon book that would allow us to raise funds. And if you're handy, we're looking for somebody to help us. We're going to pay to returf the grass coming up here, but there's definitely some maintenance activities that we could use help with. So basically any kind of skill set, if you're interested in joining or helping out, we'll take it. There's definitely a lot that we can use. And I think if we can put a little bit more emphasis on just a little bit more attention and time on the dog park, it'll really kind of make that corner at Chouteau and Newstead shine a little bit more. So thanks everyone, appreciate it.
Cool, thank you.
Thanks, Danny. Yeah, so dog park, and as the weather improves, what a great opportunity to get out and enjoy it. So next we have garden beds available. There is a community garden that's located on Chouteau Avenue, right across from the future home of the Ronald McDonald House. To say more on this, I think Julie's here. Julie, do you want to say a little bit about the community garden?
Sure. Sorry, I was eating dinner.
Sorry to interrupt.
No, I'm sorry. Yeah, so we have full garden beds and half garden beds. We have great soil. We have an automated watering system, and a friendly group of people that gardens there. So if you're interested, you can email me that email on your screen. And I would be happy to meet you down there, and we can sort of walk through what that would look like. And then you can decide to join us or not. There's a $25 fee for a full bed and $15 for a half bed. And that's almost gardening year round, given climate change these days. Maybe a month or two we can't, but besides that, it's pretty much year round use of the plot. So feel free to get in contact with me if you're interested.
Can you repeat those fees for me, Julie? The rents
sorry?
Can you repeat the rents for a full and a half plot? The annual?
Yes, it's $25 for a full plot and $15 for a half plot.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
What a deal. I personally don't have anywhere I can garden at my house, so this is a neat opportunity that we have in our neighborhood. Okay, thank you, Julie. Next, we have the Block Captain Program. The Block Captain Program is something that the neighborhood has done in the past, but this is a new iteration of it. We're trying to revive something that helps us welcome new residents, share block concerns, and organize block activities. That means communication from the neighborhood to you and also from you to the neighborhood. So if you're interested in being a leader in our community, if you're interested in getting more involved, this is a fairly low involvement thing that still makes a big difference. We're trying to get some events that really get out and localize and celebrate some of our neighbors, and the block captains can really be a big part of that. So if you're interested in, or if you know someone who's interested in it, please direct them to forestparksoutheast.com/block captain program, or you can just go to our website and navigate from there. Really a great opportunity, and I really hope that some of you will join us. Okay, now we're going to do a vote on the board amendments for our bylaws, but we thought it'd be a good idea to go ahead and just review those real quickly one more time, just so we can be absolutely clear and as transparent as possible about what we're voting on. We went over this last month at the meeting. We've also included copies in our emails that we've been sending out, but let's just go over them one more time and then we will hold a vote. Okay, so what we heard from the neighborhood was that we want decisions about our neighborhood made by our neighborhood residents. We want our voice to be heard and elevated. It's important that our forum remain free of politics. We don't want to be endorsing candidates. We don't want to be picking sides. We just want to be doing things that benefit our neighborhood. We think that we've heard that it's expected from city boards that neighborhoods associations communicate neighbors' concerns and opinions up to that level. When a neighborhood association does not take positions on things, that leaves kind of an absence of a voice for the community within that neighborhood. So we'd like to have the neighborhood association be able to, like I said, elevate those concerns, elevate those opinions, and have your opinion and your voice heard at the city level. And then lastly, there was a need to clarify our bylaws. We saw a potential for a loophole where someone could maybe vote multiple times if they registered multiple LLCs under different properties. So we're going to go ahead and make that more clear so that one person equals one vote. So let's get into the nitty-gritty real quick. In the highlighted sections here, you can see what we've changed. We are defining the forum as apolitical, as we discussed. We are communicating neighborhood opinions and concerns to government and non-government entities within the city of St. Louis. We are serving as a medium through which neighborhood stakeholders can participate in decision-making that affects the life and community of its residents. We are correcting our boundaries to match what the city defines us as. So we're going to extend those down to Interstate 44 on the south. That means that Bar K is now in our neighborhood, always was, but now it's in our neighborhood boundaries as defined on our neighborhood association. And I think we're going to try to highlight them a little more coming up because it is a great place. I have not been yet, but I've heard very nice things. And then this is the section where we are better defining who can join the neighborhood association. It is not changing. You can still join if you're a resident, a property owner, or a business. We just wanted to make sure we put in some legalese to make it very clear that one person equals one vote. Okay, so now we're going to hold a vote. The vote by our bylaws, this is a board only vote. That being said, in the future, when the community is moving on things, we're going to strive to make sure that the community votes on things and that the community can have its voice heard. So with that, let's start with the vote on the changes. We're going to vote en masse to change the, to accept the changes that I just highlighted. Let's start with the member at large. JC, how do you vote?
Yes.
Thank you, JC. Let's move on. The treasurer, Rachel, how do you vote?
Yes.
Thank you. Aaron, our secretary, how do you vote?
Yes.
Thank you. I am our vice president. I am voting yes. And Dan, our president, last but not least, how do you vote?
Yes.
Okay, that is a 5-0 vote. The amendment changes pass. Next, we're going to address event planning with JC. JC, you want to take this?
Yeah, is there another slide?
There it is. Here it is.
All right, so planned events and dates for the year. So I've been working with Brightside on a few things. So we have our neighborhood cleanups, which will be the third Saturday of each month. So you can see the date listings there with our first one showing up April 16th. So we'll have some tools, trash bags and things available from Operation Brightside to utilize for those. So if anybody wants to reach out and volunteer in advance, please let me know. I'd love to have some of those materials lined up for those people in particular who are reaching out directly. I also have a neighborhood flower planting lined up through Operation Brightside. It was a little mailer that came with our personal property taxes, actually. So I figured take advantage of that. So what I did was actually booked May 22nd. So everything will be picked up either the Friday or the Saturday prior to that event. And I've booked about 600 plants for pickup. So there are 600, or well, I'm sorry, there's more than that. There's 200 per tray. So what I've done is 3 dianthus trays, 3 marigold trays, and 3 celosia trays. So what, 600 per, so you can do the rest of the math there. So we'll have that. There's also barricade planters and tree lawns that we'll be kind of scoping out over the next few weeks to provide a map and hopefully break up into groups pending any volunteers who would like to reach out in advance once again. A few other things that we have lined up. We have the soft opening get-togethers, which is Bootleg and Barbecue and Serendipity. Those are kind of still details to come. They're still kind of determining when they're actually opening and whether or not they want to kind of hold their restaurant as a place for us to have a meeting or truly have kind of soft opening get together or ice cream social. So still details to come on those particular things. The last couple of things that are coming later this fall is the neighborhood night out. Again, lots of details to come on that and where and when that will be. And then tree planting. So we're working with Relief and Ron Coleman within the neighborhood on tree planting. I believe a couple neighbors had some trees planted yesterday, and a little bit of a mix up on a couple other neighbors. So getting those details ironed out. So if anybody is looking for a tree to be planted on their tree lawn out front, whether it's one or two, or one needs to be replaced, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm more than happy to work with the city on putting in the request and or working with Ron Coleman on tree specifics. So does anybody have any questions in regards to events?
Hey, JC, we had a couple questions in the chat. First, clarifying the time for the neighborhood cleanups. Are those still going to start at 10 o'clock?
Yes, exactly.
Perfect. And then Danny shared some good insider reminder that any community members can use the St. Louis City's website to request a tree be planted in that tree lawn in front of their property. So a good reminder. We'll try to find that link and maybe include it in the minutes. Danny, thanks for sharing that. And then just some further excitement, JC, in the chat. So thanks a lot. Great job.
Thanks.
A little background about forest relief, really quickly, and the difference between that and let me mute my notifications really quick. The difference between the city tree program and forest relief. So forest relief works with organizations like neighborhood associations to offer free trees that can go on easement lawns, your street lawns, your street lawns. And by doing that, it saves the city a lot of money, and they can allocate trees to other areas. And in addition to that, planning these events with forest relief, with the city forestry department, with Ron Coleman, with the GIS staff who help map the trees, we're able to do this as a neighborhood, and we can pick a date, target date, and can all come out and plant trees together. I think the best course of action to this event might be identifying a single block in which trees are needed or have been skipped. We can go out and pull addresses and notify neighbors and send that information to Ron at Forestry and the GIS staff who can help identify the appropriate trees, and then we can reach out to Forest Relief. But yeah, you're more than welcome and free to reach out to Forestry to get a permit. They might take a little bit longer, but I think you might get a bigger tree that way too. But yeah, just thought I would clarify.
Thanks, Dan.
Okay, so
Hey, Michael.
yeah,
Before we move on, we had another comment in the chat. I think you might be able to maybe address it really quick before we move too far down the agenda.
sure thing, Aaron. Yeah.
So it was a question back on the first of the three amendments you reviewed on the bylaws, the exclusion of political or the inclusion of apolitical. Can you get into a little bit further the intent of that change and whether it would mean that, let me see here, more specifically, Dan, I'm trying to articulate this in the form of a question for Michael. But does the board plan to not take a position on policy? And how does that sort of affect what the, I guess, goal for the board is representing the community moving forward?
That's a great question, and thank you. Dan, thank you, Dan, for I think the board is trying to avoid a situation where we take a position on something where the vote maybe not go our way, and then that hurts the neighborhood. We don't want a situation where, say, obviously a candidate gets endorsed and then that candidate loses, and then the person who wins is upset with the neighborhood association and thus diminishes the community's voice. We wouldn't want that kind of situation. And same thing on policy. If there's something that obviously has a very bad effect on the entire neighborhood, that's certainly something you can bring up and discuss with the neighborhood association. And it may even be a situation where a letter of support or something can be floated and voted on. But we don't aim to take positions on policy for the same reason that if a certain alderperson was proposing policy and then our neighborhood opposed it, and then it, passed anyway, and then we would have an alderperson with a grudge against us, and that would be not good for the association or the neighborhood. So we certainly don't want to get into that situation.
What I really want to do is, I thought we were moving away from being just a neutral blah 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 talk shit group. Oh, sorry, I cursed. And I want to get away from having a group where there's censorship, where you have bad policy and we can't speak about it because we've got a no policy. We don't talk about policy at this group. Maybe if you could reword it, because if you got somebody that's petty, that's going to hold, being voted against, I mean, they're just going to have to deal with it and get over it. There's a freedom of speech is a central part of our country. It's part of our rights. And when they force bad policy or good policy, and we want to endorse it, we should be able to do that. And I think the neighborhood group is limiting a great ability by taking that stance. It should probably be reworded some kind of way. We need to talk about policy. Just my thoughts.
Yeah, I do hear what you're saying, and thank you for that. There certainly have been things in the past where, certain issues have hurt our neighborhood and hurt the people in our neighborhood. And we feel that the association can be a voice for those people. We certainly won't shy away from addressing city departments if we need to, especially in cases where, say there's a negligent landlord or something, and their tenants are having difficulties having their voices addressed and their needs addressed by that landlord. That's something where the neighborhood can help out and elevate their voice. But again, we want to be careful with the greater politics of the city. I watch the Board of Aldermen pretty closely, and believe it or not, there are some people who are fairly petty on that board. So we can definitely discuss, and I want you to feel free to bring up issues, because we definitely don't want to censor anybody, and we're definitely not going to limit what we can talk about. If there's something that's really pressing and that really needs to be addressed, we're going to have that discussion. And possibly, like I said, there even could be a solution where a letter of support or a letter just notifying the city of an issue could be issued and kind of elevate that concern.
I think that really using the word policy and politics, the elimination, that is a huge change in the bylaws, which makes it by rule not cool to discuss policy, and that needs to be reworded. I think you should work on rewording it, whether they're petty downtown or not. We as a group, if we're going to be a do something group, when bad policy or good policy comes, we need to go there and endorse it. That's what gives us. We want to be an influencers, especially where we live in our city, because just because if it involves the whole city as a whole, it's going to involve our neighborhood as a whole. And those people that it'll affect will be us. So I think you guys should really revisit it in a committee meeting. It's just, I'm strongly saying that that's a really killing our group. It's going to be a group killer, free speech killer.
Okay, yeah, we'll definitely talk about it. Thank you, Dan. Okay, getting back to the event schedule real quick.
Don, sorry, Don, I see you have your hand raised.
Oh, yes, yeah, Don.
I think we need to stay on time, so you have we can give you 2 minutes if you have something to say. You're on mute. There you go.
I'm gonna have to agree with Dan on being able to discuss things, because within a really short year, we're going to be reducing the Board of Aldermen down to 14. We really need to get involved and determine what 14 those aldermen are going to be. And there's all sorts of money coming in our neighborhood right now, and they're talking about how to put it out there at the board, and it doesn't look good for neighborhoods. Thank you.
Thanks, Don.
All right. back to the event calendar real quick. It looks like our first cleanup is on April 16th. That is just over a month away. So put that on your calendars if you're interested. The neighborhood cleanups are a great way to get out and meet your neighbors. They're also a great way to beautify your community. I don't know if you've noticed, but this winter, the neighborhood has gotten a little bit trashy in terms of actual garbage on the streets. And so we want to get out, we want to make our neighborhood a better place, clean it up. And this year we will be getting over to Kings Oak neighborhood. They are part of our neighborhood association, and we want to make sure that we're cleaning up their neighborhood as well. So we will be getting over there and cleaning up their area, helping make it better as well. So April 16th, put it on your calendar. Hell, put all of the dates on your calendar because we'd love to see you out there, and it's a great way to help out. I always feel very accomplished after we get many big bags full of trash after we finish doing those. All right, moving on. Looks like we have an event committee. JC, do you want to plug that?
Yeah, I forgot about this slide. Yeah, so if you are more than interested in volunteering any of your time towards designing flyers, event coordination, helping draft up sponsorship opportunities with local businesses here in the Grove, we would love for you to send us a quick email in support of that. Whether or not you have the time, please let me know, just questions, anything like that. And I did see one question from Philip on where we were meeting for the cleanups. Just to circle back to that, we will have details. I need to get a flyer over to Dan so that we can get that approved and sent out to everyone as well. So details to come on where we'll meet.
Great, thank you, JC.
No problem.
Okay, treasurer's report, Rachel.
All right, if you go to the next slide there, this will be short and sweet this month, but the summary is there on the left. We started the month of February with $1,431.45, and we had $150 in revenue thanks to membership dues. Some of those were paid in late January and subsequently were cashed and transferred into the bank on February 1, so they hit in February. But it was great to see $150 come in revenue. And then we had our usual expense, monthly $14.99 fee for Zoom. So we ended the month of February a little bit ahead at $1,566.46.
All right, thank you, Rachel. And then we've also been discussing, got our Cash App here. We need dues for our neighborhood, not just for fun. Those help us actually put on those events that we're putting on for you guys. So the things like the trash cleanups, that's pretty low overhead. But things like the neighborhood night out, that does cost a penny or two. So we use those funds to help us put on events, put on like a food truck, to put out games, to do all sorts of fun things. These are things that really just help us get our jobs done. None of us take a salary, not that there's enough money to do that anyway. We're all volunteers, but these things go directly towards things that actually go into the neighborhood. So if you like to donate or pay your dues or pay what you can. So pay as much as $1 or as little as $1, as much as $100 if you're feeling really generous. But dues will allow you voting privileges, and that'll include when we issue letters of support and have the community vote on those, that will include those voting privileges as well. Again, pay what you can though, so don't feel like it's a cost barrier. And if you want any more information, please do reach out to us at forestparksoutheast@gmail.com. This slide is saying what I was just saying. One other thing we're going to actually do this year, we're looking to put out welcome packets. We want the neighborhood to know that we exist. And we also want the neighborhood to know that this is a place that they can come to have their voice elevated and heard. So we would like to get a welcome packet on every door in the neighborhood, letting people know who we are, what we do, and how they can benefit from our neighborhood organization and how they can benefit our neighborhood themselves. So that is one thing that our money will be going towards this year. A lot of it's going to be volunteering effort, going out, putting things down door to door, but there are like printing costs and other things. And then, like I said, the rest of the money goes towards charitable things that are services for our neighborhood. Crime and safety report. I do not see Officer Walker here, so I think we might skip this for now. No, I don't think she's here. Let's see. And then I think we also have the Alderwoman next, but I don't see her here either. So we might. Let's see.
Tina, Alderman Peel will be attending later. I gave her an agenda for about 7:30, so she might be running a little late. She just sent an email saying that she plans to talk about the budget and shared a 2021 17th Ward Capital completed projects PDF that I can share when she presents. Until she is able to join on, does anybody have any questions regarding crime and safety or the trees or events or any interest in questions of how the welcome packet might be structured or anything that we can answer?
Dan, I want to ask about the dog park.
Yeah, what's up?
It was on the agenda earlier.
Yep.
I want to ask about the members. How many members do they have, and are they funded by the city at all?
No, so it's the dog park is nonprofit, not funded by the city. It's all membership dues based. And I don't know off the top of my head how many members there are because we have to pay an administrator to handle all the payments, and they take a pretty large chunk of the membership dues actually through Forest Park Southeast. So I don't know the number off the top of my head, but looking for city grants and some of the local sponsorship opportunities are part of what we're kind of hoping some people can help us do.
How much does it cost to join? Someone just asked me.
Great question. I forgot. I should know. I forgot off the top of my head.
I want to say it's $20 or
25.
so.
Yeah,
25.
I think it's something like that. $25
For a year?
For 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
I'll have to double back. Sorry about that, guys.
Okay. And you guys aren't paying for any of that space or anything like that. Just you're doing the upkeep is out of your own funds?
Yeah, the biggest expense for us is actually insurance. Liability insurance is pretty hefty. It's a couple grand a year. And that's basically what most of the dues go to. We're trying to, it's been a little bit of a nightmare actually, but we're trying to do some improvements. Like the drain was put in when they put in the basketball court in there, so that won't be so muddy, which is great. We're also trying to get a water spigot in there and then fix the fencing. And I think I mentioned earlier that I'm aerating and trying to re-turf with some tougher grass that'll kind of stay in for longer over time, so it looks better and performs better. So yeah.
Ron, I see that you have your hand raised.
Yes, we came in a little bit late, and admittedly, I missed last month's meeting. We're just wondering, we're in Kings Oak, we're corner of Kings Highway in Oakland.
Oh, welcome.
Wonder about the Lux Living project. What's the status of that? We saw the Bell and dumpster out there for the longest time, and then it was taken away. So I didn't know if the project has been shelved or what the status is there.
Yeah, our understanding of that is that it is still going through the city process. That's probably a good question for the alderwoman when she gets here. She will know more, but yeah, there has not been any discernible movement on that yet. And yes, the dumpster was there, and it got taken away. And as I understand it, no demolition has been approved yet. So those buildings will continue to be there until there's some movement to the city process. But the alderwoman will know more.
Yeah, and people were using that dumpster for their own purposes. And now that it's taken away, there's mattresses and plywood and everything out in the yard. So I didn't know if there was, maybe on our next cleanup, we can take care of that.
We will definitely get in front of those properties. We know you have to look at them, and we want to make sure that those are cleaned up. For bigger things like mattresses and stuff like that, reach out to Ron Coleman. He is our neighborhood improvement specialist, and that is technically in our neighborhood. So he can help you out with that. He's very responsive. He's an excellent neighborhood improvement specialist. And he's well aware of those issues. So if you can reach out to him, I think he'll help get that cleaned up.
Do you have a number for him, or?
Yeah, let me grab it real quick.
You can drop it in the chat. I'll drop it in the chat. I got it.
You got it? Okay.
Thanks, Dan. Thanks, Michael. Hey, we had another great question from Tom about the status of the 501c3 application.
Yeah, I thought we had a slide in there, but I guess it went missing. Rachel, do you want to talk a little bit about where we're at with the 501c3 application?
Sure. So we talked a little bit about it during our meeting last month and some of the benefits of obtaining that status, but without going into great detail again about it, it is something that would put us in a position to apply for grants and would also exempt us from being taxed on things like membership dues. We would get exemptions from or discounts or even free postage for mailers and some benefits on sales tax, et cetera, et cetera. There's really no reason not to do it, except there is the annual fee of roughly $500 to start, and then an annual fee of about $12 a year, as I recall. From there on out, pretty minimal. We've talked about it. I think we're all in agreement to move forward. It's just a matter of going through the application process. But happy to answer any questions or hear any other comments.
You're not connected.
No, I am. I'm
Yeah.
on. It's just that there are more people than.
I think adding on to that, where we are in that process is after taking a look at, I think through a finer
That's how it
tone.
was before. Somehow I must have just clicked it. Oh,
Alan, do you have a question?
I just wanted to say that there is going to be a celebration or a get together for Chouteau Park, and I was talking with our alderwoman about it, and the thought was sometime in May or early June, but there have been no definitive dates made, and I was hoping she would be here and we would be able to discuss that. But there's that. I also just wanted to reiterate what was said about the dog park, that it is now fully drained, and so there may have been people who have declined from going there because it was such a swamp. And now I think it seems to be working quite well, the drainage there. So those are just the two things. I've been trying to unmute myself and somehow I pulled the wrong cord here. Anyway, thanks.
All good. Yeah, we can, I think Alderman Peel will be here shortly. And we can discuss that. I
Yeah,
think Jamie, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, yeah, when they put in the basketball courts, they fixed the drainage in the dog park, and it has really improved it. So thank you for pointing that out. And
Yeah.
I hope people get out and enjoy it because, like I said, it's a great resource in our neighborhood.
Yeah, I mean, I think the whole park now is almost fully, everything that we wanted to put in the park has pretty much been put there. There's one thing that, as a member of the infrastructure committee, I was working on that. And the one last thing that we aim to put in, if possible, is some kind of either gazebo or something in the middle of the park that could be used for performances and various things. And we're looking to get funding, hopefully from some of the businesses, and Ronald McDonald House has to some extent shown some interest. I've talked with Ron about this. And so if we can get something of a nice pavilion there, it doesn't have to be extremely expensive, but it would be nice if it were a pleasant place where we could have concerts there, or people could use them for like the gazebos in Tower Grove Park could use them for a picnic on a weekend or something like that. So that's kind of like what's going on there. And I've been by the basketball court every day, and I think today there were people in the park using virtually everything that was there. It was just remarkable. There were people having picnics there. There were people with the kids. There were people playing basketball, and there were people playing soccer. So it was really, it's really turned out to be a successful park right now. And I think we can, if we can promote it through the having a kind of opening, a festive opening of the new park, that would really bring in more people there. So
Well,
thank you.
Please
Hey,
do
Alan.
keep us up to date about the meeting, the party date when you do settle on it.
Okay.
This could be a great place to spread the word about it. So once you settle on a date, if you could reach out to us, that would be wonderful.
Okay.
We did have somebody ask, is there a Friends of Chouteau Park or similar organization?
Not at this point, no. That would be a great idea, I think. There's been some suggestion about people making donations to the park. For instance, adding more trees to the park. And I've talked with the forestry department, I believe last year, about that. And so that would be if there were a Friends of the Park that people could appeal to provide, make a donation to, that would be a wonderful thing.
That's really,
It sounds like there's a lot of interest too in this group about staying engaged about the gazebo or developments there. Would you keep us posted on how we can support, or if there's any community members that might offer insight or
Absolutely. I
plan?
think we once we have a date, I think we'd like to have someone who can design and make a poster to do that work. That would be great. Along with that idea is the possibility of having a what is it called? A kind of a billboard or in the park, maybe even a second billboard over at the elementary school in the field in the back where kids play sometimes and everything. In other words, one on the north side, one on the south side that suggest to people what's going on. Maybe even one on, there used to be one on Manchester, but something like that, that might be really useful to especially people going to the park. They could read what's up next, and that might be a way of really spreading the word. So those are a few ideas we've had, and I'll keep you in touch. Okay.
Okay. Thanks, Alan. We've got a lot of interest in the park, it sounds like. So would it be best for interested folks to reach out to you or to come to the board and we can make sure we're in touch with you directly?
You can reach out to me. And I don't know if you have my email address, but I can give that to you at some point, you know.
Awesome.
Okay.
Thanks, Alan.
I'll contact you. Okay.
Thanks.
Is there, I know there used to be an infrastructure committee. Is there a group that's meeting about this, discussing the gazebo and things like that, where people could be more involved in the decision-making about that?
I'll
Go ahead.
I'll be speaking about the infrastructure committee later
Hi,
on.
Tina.
Hey.
Okay, sounds like the alderwoman is here. Alan, was there anything else you wanted to share, or is?
No, I think Tina could fill in the details that I've missed.
Okay, well, let's go ahead and go to the alderwoman then, we can, let's see, there we go. All right, Alderwoman Peel, take it away.
Thank you, everyone. And were you talking about I just got on, so were you just talking about the infrastructure committee, Alan?
Oh, Alan, you're on mute. We were talking about Chouteau Park. We were just kind of going around talking about community updates. I think when Alan unmutes, I'll pass the torch. There you go,
Alan. I was just saying about the things that we're interested in doing with the park, but also the question about the infrastructure committee. Tina and I and Julie have gotten together to bring the infrastructure committee back. So she can tell you more about that.
Great. Thank you, everyone. I will begin with the infrastructure committee since we're on that topic. And so about a month ago, Julie, thank you for your service as the chair of the infrastructure committee. And Alan and Kelly Harris and I met, who are current members of the infrastructure committee. And we talked about how we wanted to make sure that with the changing demographics in this community, we wanted to have more people representative and to have things that were going to be more transparent and open to everyone. And so I would love to run down with you regarding how we're going to relaunch that particular committee. And it will be Alan and Kelly who have been on the committee. They're going to be helping relaunch it. And what we would like to do is there's going to be an online application, and it will be posted on my website at Tina Sweet Tea Peel on Monday. And it will be open for 2 weeks until March 31st for people to apply to the committee. It will continue to be open. It's not going to actually close because we want to make sure that the committee will be filled in terms of the seats. There are going to be 13 members on the committee, and we're going to be looking to see that we have people representative on the north of Manchester and south of Manchester. And then also when we talk about east and west. And so we have criteria in terms of how many people we would like to make sure that we get and hit those check marks to be represented on the particular committee. We'd also like to have the neighborhood association representative on the committee. We would like to have, they're going to be 3-year staggered terms, 2 consecutive terms. And then you have to step off of the committee for 2 years and have a break before returning again, so that, you know, we can have changeover. But we thought that 2-year terms were too short, because you kind of just start ramping up after the 2nd year, and then 3rd year, you're like, okay, so we decided not to just do 2-year, but we'll do 3-year terms. It will be open to residents of Forest Park Southeast and Kings Oak. And we also discussed that it would be open to the businesses on Chouteau, because they're not in a special taxing district. And so in terms of getting infrastructure needs in that area. Alan, do you have any other input regarding that? I will give some more information about budget and stuff like that after this, but.
Yeah, I think that covers what we talked about. And I think the issue will be trying to get 2 people and find people to join. It's kind of an obscure title, infrastructure. And so it really almost requires personal communication to make it known what you are involved with. So it will take some energy and probably some posters going up or something more than an online presence, I think. You know, we'll have to talk more about that, but I think it's, you know, word of mouth would be really helpful for those people that are present tonight to spread the word that the infrastructure committee, you know, really deals with the, you know, the kind of infrastructure, the nuts and bolts of the neighborhood and the streets, the sidewalks, the parks, the lighting, the bus stops, all of those things that are really necessary to maintain. That's it. That's all I have to say. I'm fine.
I think you're overselling it, Alan. That all sounds really interesting.
It's pretty boring, but the park was really quite a nice little event. That I must admit.
No,
We had fun doing it.
I actually think all of that stuff is really interesting because it's all stuff that directly affects our lives. And that is something that everybody enjoys, no matter who they are in this neighborhood. We walk and we experience the streetlights. We use the parks. You know, that's all really important stuff. So we appreciate you giving your time to it. And we hope that we can help recruit people to it too. Alderwoman, you said that there will be a website that we can direct people to?
Yeah, I'm going to post on my website the application. I'll also send it to you all that you could send out to members and post it onto your website too. So it'll be an online application available on Monday. And what will happen is we're probably not going to get everybody in place at once, but you'll be working on creating and making sure that all of the bylaws and those things are going to be all in place, etc. So it's going to be a work in progress because we're going to be looking at that. I wanted to say that in terms of the budget actually for this year, I was hearing you talk about Chouteau Park. And so I would like to tell you that there is going to be $70,000 actually donated to Chouteau Park that the infrastructure is going to look at for, if you'd like, and I heard you talk about a gazebo. And so I wanted to make that announcement. I was talking to Parks and Rec for the last couple of weeks regarding looking at ward funding and capital. So that if you would like to get some more money, or if you if you'd like to have a design that costs more than that, that will have to be fundraised. Just a FYI.
Did you say 70,000, like 70?
70,000, yes.
That's a good number.
And so that is one thing that actually has to get moving in terms of looking at the design, because there's going to be a certain date that the city is going to have to know how much money is going to be, either if you want it, if it's going to cost more than that, how much money is available and how you want your design to be. This $70,000 will also include having electrical put into the park too. So it's just not
Right.
going to a gazebo.
So should we talk, or should I talk to Ron Coleman about proceeding with how we either find someone within the government or outside to do a design for us and set up I think we need
that would be talked to. Yeah, we'll talk about that within the committee with the members on how we could get that design done. And there are design staff people who could do, sketches, rough sketches
Sure.
within the city.
Yeah,
So
I have some capability there.
Okay.
I
I
have
see
a
there's hands up.
Yeah, I have a question about, an application. I mean, the selection process, who's on the selection committee? What do you got to do to qualify? Historically, they really limited who they allowed on that. They really handpicked who they wanted on it. So what's the process? Who's going to be, how can you qualify? What do you got to do?
So the application will be available, and I'll post where in the neighborhood we're looking for different individuals from different areas in the neighborhood to be on the committee. And the review process will be the current committee members, myself, to make sure that the demographics we have a well-represented group.
So to qualify, you have to do what to qualify? Live in a certain area and meet a demographic?
Well, there are going to be certain demographics that we need to hit, right? And I'll have that posted in terms of those demographics, in terms of geography, etc. Alan, you wanted to make a comment?
Yeah, I think all that we really want, and I don't think we were exclusionary at all in the past 4 or 5 years. What we wanted, we were trying quite hard to find people to be on the committee, and we tried many different ways. But I think partly we want definitely to have more people from the south of Manchester. We want to have people from all the geographic areas, and maybe across the street in what is it, West Oak, the subdivision across Kings Highway, Kings Oak. I'm sorry. It would be, all we're looking for is that. The qualifications that Tina's going to post are quite reasonable for anyone to join, and we look forward to that. We've had, sometimes we've had, I would say, 8 or 9 people. There was one representative from Washington U. There were people that had from the business district on Manchester. There was one on. There were various people, and I think the more the merrier, to tell you the truth, because it's hard a lot of times to get enough people on these committees. And so that's all I can say, is I think there shouldn't be any problem with anyone who wants to be on the committee joining. Okay.
I hope it's like that. I hope it is.
So in terms of, what I have here is really, it's the locations of making sure that we have, like I mentioned, is like the location in the neighborhood and trying to make sure that we also have new people who are coming into the neighborhood and people who have been here for a long time and in the median. And so just having that diversity. You know, there has been a lot of vacancy. There was vacancy on the committee prior to, so there were spaces available. Don, you had a question?
You're muted, Don.
I mean, we would love to have like an architect, an engineer, or somebody like that who also could lend their professional services on this, you know, particular committee.
Yeah, I do have a question, Alderwoman Phil. I think this committee needs to relook at our neighborhood plan because I believe the form-based district needs to have a new, fresh look at it. And I believe that piece of legislation that has created all these 4-story buildings in our neighborhood has been the real gentrification issue of our community. And I just don't know how to plan the neighborhood next. I mean, when you look at these 4-story buildings dotting our neighborhood, and you look at the 4-story buildings on Manchester, you probably should have put them all up there. But I don't know if subsidies for these kind of housing projects should be how we go on in the next century. And look, you're only going to be in office for another 1.5 years tops, and then we have to go through a reduction of the board. So I think we need to talk about all these at our meetings and get a little more clear information on who's really controlling our money in this ward. Thank you.
Thank you, Don. Will you make sure that you copy the chat?
Yeah,
I see
I see
their comments and that people are making.
We had a lot of really good specific questions about the ward financing and some of the money that you're talking about now. I didn't want to jump ahead. You tell me if it's better to save these questions for the end or talk through them now. I was going to go ahead and save them so you can get through the rest of your agenda.
Okay. Well, I will now talk about the budget of the infrastructure committee and what has been spent and what has been spent on for 2021. I got the breakdown. Do you want to post?
I can share that right now. 1 second.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Can you guys see my screen?
Okay, so this is the breakdown of the budget that has been spent for 2021 in terms of completed spent for the budget for the ward capital. And what has happened is that we in Forest Park Southeast, there was approximately $119,000 spent in 2021 on capital improvements from ADA ramps to, I guess the Taylor entrance needed to be repaired. And that cost about $19,000. And $44,000 went to the completion of the basketball courts. For other projects in the ward, as you could see, almost $10,000 went through repairing the irrigation on Forest Park Avenue. And in front of the Lindell St. Regis condos on Lindell, we spent about $9,000 on sidewalk repairs. And then in the neighborhood Botanical Heights, we put in about $1,200 for replacing of trash receptacles. And then this year in terms of, or last year, in terms of streets, we had 3 major streets repaired. And the ones that are highlighted are the streets that were repaired here in Forest Park Southeast. And so, as many of you noticed, Boyle was paved from Tappan all the way to Van Deventer. And so that was actually two budgets that we did it in two phases. And then we also had Newstead paid from Forest Park to Lindell. And that cost, as you could see from what is posted, about $119,000 for those two major pavings. We'll get about 2 to 3 major pavings a year in the district. At this point in time, nothing's happening because of the weather, but as we can see, I see that there are potholes that are getting filled as the weather is getting better. And so for the next term, there's going to be about $230,000 at this point in time in the budget for street repairs, improvements, and infrastructure, trees, etc. For the entire ward.
And speaking of potholes real quick, if you do see a pothole and it is in need of repair, you can actually address that concern to the St. Louis Citizens Bureau, and they will get on it right quick. I tweeted at them. Yeah, you can tweet at the St. Louis Citizens Bureau too. I tweeted at them the next day that pothole was filled. So use that resource and fix our streets.
Okay, does anybody have a couple questions for me regarding that before I move on to some other
cheesy
subjects?
Dan,
Yeah, I was asked, this is 21. So are you going to discuss what's going to come up in 22? How we're going to spend that money? Because that money's already spent. That's old news.
We have not decided how that money is going to be spent, and that's part of what the infrastructure committee is going to be doing. So that none of that money has been decided on how it's going to be spent.
Okay.
So that's where the infrastructure committee is coming in, and also looking at the other neighborhoods too.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm going to move on to Dan. Don, your hand is up, or do you have another question? Or okay.
I really don't know how to take that hand down. But
Okay.
I did want to talk to you about the half-cent sales tax for capital improvements we passed. Do we have to use that for streets, or can we use that for home repair money?
At this point in time, I think it's only for streets. I don't know that it is for home repair, but I could look into that for you.
That would be very good for the neighborhood. Thank you.
Okay. So a couple other subjects in terms of what I wanted to update you on. In the Central West End, there's going to be a community engagement meeting next Tuesday from 6 to 7:30 at the Chase. I don't know if did you guys discuss this already? Oh, because I see, Aaron, you're shaking your head.
Well, I got the flyer. I was very excited. Yes, please continue.
Okay. So next Tuesday, March 22nd, from 6 to 7:30 at Chase Plaza in the Carson Room, there's going to be a community engagement meeting for a new residential tower. 293 apartments are going to be built, studio to 3-bedroom. You can park at the Chase, and bring in your ticket because it will be validated. There are going to be 360 plus parking spaces and about 150 biking spaces. There will be 2 retail stores, and there's going to be about 11,000 square foot plaza. The design or some of the renderings are on my website, and also on the Forest Park Southeast Neighborhood Association website, where you could see how it's going to look. It actually is going to be, I feel, it's going to be a lot more comforting to the pedestrian as they walk by. It won't have such hard edges. And there's going to be more than one community engagement meeting. This is just the first initial one. And then from questions similar to what had happened last year with the developments in this neighborhood, there's going to be a second neighborhood community engagement meeting, and possibly more. So it's not just going to be a one meeting decision.
Does it, Tina, does it cover only the area that's shown red, or does it not include the parking area that is up against on the corner there? It's
that empty parking lot that has been empty for I don't know how many, I mean, at least a
Okay.
decade.
But it doesn't extend to Lindell.
The project site.
It does extend to Lindell. Yes.
It does.
That
Okay.
yes, it will extend all the way to Lindell.
And it sounds like it might be about the same height as the tower next to it.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
The other agenda item I want to report on, I know that a lot of people are interested in this, is the trash and the recycling. At the ward meeting just last week, it's actually going to be posted online, and you could watch the trash and recycling staff person talking a lot of detail about what's going on. And right now they are giving incentive bonuses of about a couple $1,000s after 3 months of hire to drivers. The difficulty is that these drivers need to get a CDLA license, and that is one of the impediments that we have, or one of the biggest impediments we have. On a good day, there are 55 routes that the city has to collect. And on a good day, only about 40 people come in to the office. So there's always short staff. But as some neighborhoods have seen, and I don't know if you've seen that, they are working around the clock, and they work on Saturdays and Sundays. I don't know if you've seen your trash picked up on Saturday or Sunday. One of the things that the Board of Alder people are doing is that we actually introduced Resolution 199 to suspend the collection of the recycling fees that we are currently incurring because we are not recycling. And so that will be going into committee in April in terms of suspending those fees until we can get enough drivers to be able to collect the trash and also recycle. If you go onto my website and click the video, you'll also see the resources and people you can contact. Randy Breitenfeld is the staff person, and he is willing to talk to you more about recycling and what the update is. One of the good things that happened out of that meeting at the ward is that we might get another recycling spot on Laclede between Sarah and Vandervender across from the post office. And that would be a drop-off location. So it wouldn't, it doesn't help in terms of having personal service in your alley, but on the ward meeting, there was a resident and we started brainstorming on how we can have maybe more drop-off locations. And so we could have possibly another location, again, across from the post office there on Laclede in the Central West End.
We do have a quick question. Does the city offer assistance with acquiring the commercial driver's license that would be required for trash truck drivers?
Assistance, I do not know, but I could get back to you about that. Get Randy on that one.
I think I know it's not just me. I've heard from other people that while we don't want to be charged recycling fees for recycling that's not being collected, we'd much prefer to pay the recycling fees and have our recycling collected. So we're really looking forward to getting that back in service as soon as possible.
Thank you, Michael. Yes.
Moving back to development real quick, we did have a question in the chat. For the development on Kings Highway in the Central West End, is there a request for tax incentives for that project?
They have not requested. Oh, in the Central West End. At this point in time, I am looking at reviewing what they are looking to request in tax incentive. Yes. So that is getting reviewed.
Okay,
So
and will there be
SLD
discussion about that at the community engagement meeting on the 22nd?
At this point in time, I don't know if that will be a discussion. I mean, the public can discuss that. So I think that having your input would be great.
Okay, thank you. And
Yeah.
then we did have a question from Kings Oak resident earlier in the meeting before you arrived. They were asking if there was an update on the Lux Living project on Kings Highway and Oakland, I guess.
Yeah, we're still looking into, again, where the entrance will be. I believe that it needs to go back to, you guys as a community in terms of, we're looking at the setback. And so that's still being looked at because they have requested a less of a setback than what they had initially proposed. So I'll keep you up to date on that.
If we can, let's catch up on a couple other questions we had building up. Back to the infrastructure committee discussion. I know there's going to be the call for applicants. Is the 3-year term maximum, is that also a minimum expected serving period, or is that just a maximum?
Is it a minimum term?
Yeah. So are you asking for people to commit to a 3-year service period or just a maximum 3-year service period?
Oh, it would be great to have them individuals commit to a 3-year service period. Yes.
Okay. There was also a lot of really great chatter.
Oh, I would like to mention that because it's starting up and we're going to have committee members coming all at once, there's actually going to be a staggered. So we'll probably be drawing hats or whatever. It's because we need to have people come off and on, not all at once. And so it's going to be staggered. So there will be a 1-year term, a 2-year term, and a 3-year term. And then you could apply again. It's kind of like what we're doing with the Board of Alder people too. So.
Okay. There was a lot more specific questions and conversations about the gazebo, whether it would go for an RFP, maybe include children in some of the insight or information gathering for community outreach, what the plan for maintenance would be, sort of a desire for something that's very high design. Is all of that really coming out of this committee?
That would have to, I have not gone through such a process, so
Yeah.
it would be through the committee and then working with the staff as much as possible.
Okay, I guess the ultimate question is that committee is the decision-making body about the gazebo. Is that true?
Yes, it would be.
Yeah. Okay. And then the last question, and there was questions about some sort of get together in Chouteau Park, and we wanted to circle back with you to confirm maybe a vision for what that might look like. There was a lot of excitement, I think, on some sort of kickoff. We wanted to make sure we touch back on that.
There is did you say get together?
Yeah.
Get together.
Are we talking about the basketball?
Well, I'd rather rephrase it as the reopening of the park.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I had mentioned that we had talked about having such an event in May or possibly early June, something like that. But we haven't made a decision on that, right? And so all that I mentioned here is that once that decision is made, I'd like to find someone who could do a poster or something like that, and that we would post them up around the neighborhood. But I think we need to just sit down. I think infrastructure committee or whoever is available to discuss what that's going to be like, what that event is like. So, and if we can get free refreshments like we've done for other events at Chouteau Park, something like that, that would be great. You've said, Tina, that you have a basketball match, a women's basketball match, pretty much set up, it sounds like.
Yeah, but the Botanical Heights Neighborhood Association, there's some residents that can help us set up a basketball, because that's what we were, focusing on. So we would look to have maybe a little mini tournament. But these details would be the ones that are discussed again in the infrastructure committee
Right.
in terms of that kickoff and those details. But that would be part of a different type of planning that the infrastructure committee would be doing.
That would be really, really fun. We are after 8 o'clock. We want to be respectful of everybody's evening. If there's anything else, any other questions for the Alderwoman, we can maybe fit one more in. And Alderwoman, do you have any other things to share on your agenda?
Not at this time.
Okay, let's take one more question and then we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up.
Hey, Michael, this is about the trash. Tina, there was an ordinance because it made the news about dumping in the city. And I don't know if that has been voted on. And it seems that the city is proactive, is not proactive again, that they're just reactive. And the proposal by the alderman was to increase the fines from 500 to 1,000 and to spend more money on cameras and IT to catch people and put them in court. I think the city is always spending the money in the wrong place. The trash in this city is ridiculous. Instead of spending money on fines and on courts and on cameras, we should be paying people $25 to drive trash to the dump. We have got to get everyday people in the city of St. Louis to take the trash problem personally. And you're not doing that. They've got a staff of trash police.
Yes, we do have.
We shouldn't be spending money on trash police. We are not solving homicides in this city.
Dan,
our police should be. Hold on, Mike.
Can you let the Alderwoman respond?
If this is my alderman, I would like for her, if she has a chance, because this is already is in committee. I don't know if it's come out of committee. We have to have some real new ideas instead of fining people. If you can take that back to him, Tina, we can change the trash culture in this city. It's a dirty city.
So thank you, Dan.
Thank you, Tina.
Thank you, Dan. So one of the things we were talking about this at the ward meeting, and one of the things we need is more kind of outreach in terms of signage and PSAs about keeping your areas clean, right? But in this particular board bill, it actually is not, it's more intended actually for the people coming from out of town and dumping people who get evicted. If you go onto the north side and you can see some of those alleys, and I know you have, probably Dan, you're shaking your head, it's those individuals in terms of that type of trash, in terms of people are dumping loads and mountains. I mean, it's unbelievable. A few years ago, I saw this and I could not believe it was it was a hill. It was 2 people's homes that were dumped in the West End in the alley. And those are the individuals that are really, that are going to be hit on terms of that trash fine. And it went from 500 to 1,000 because actually the state of Missouri has it limited up to 1,000 at this point in time in terms of any types of fines for anything. And so that is what we're looking at, is more the bigger distressed areas in terms of having people illegally dump. But at the same time, there is a need to be vigilant regarding just individuals just dumping. You know, they open their car door and you just see them dump right there. And
they're dumping in our neighborhood too. But what I'm saying about being proactive, stop spending money on cameras. You know, they're going to spend $100,000 on cameras. They could give a voucher to people to drive to the dump, and a lot of people would make $25 just to take trash there. I mean, we got to be more proactive. We're such a behind and a punish people type of, we'll catch you. We're spending a lot of money on, how much are they spending on the budget for trash police? There's a lot of trash police.
And that's actually a very interesting idea. That's actually a very interesting idea about maybe paying people to bring trash to a spot. With that, I think we're going to go ahead and wrap this up tonight because we do all need to get going. I still need to eat dinner. So thank you everybody who came out to the neighborhood association meeting tonight. I'm just going to share this one last slide before we go. These are dates to put on your calendar. Our next meeting is on April 19th. We will be sending out an agenda before that, so you'll know what's going to be on it. And we have before that a neighborhood cleanup on April 16th. And I'm really, really excited to get out there and start cleaning up the neighborhood again now that we have this nicer weather. So
Yeah,
once again,
more details to come on that cleanup event, where to meet. It'll be at 10 a.m. We'll make Google Calendar invites. We'll have it on Facebook. We'll have it on the website as well.
Yep. So once again, thank you all for coming out tonight, and have a good night.
Hey, thank
Amazing
you.
job, Michael. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.